JJ's got the keys to the blockchain breeze. He's live every day, decode the mazes. JJ's cryptic corner where the coins keep turning. Log in now, the future's burning. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. Pixels glow, charts flow. Crypto whispers, secrets show. He cracks the code on this winding road. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. Tune in, lean back, grab your coffee, hit the track. JJ's live, don't be late. Cryptic wisdom, seal your fate.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Happy Friday. How's everyone doing today? Smash the like button on your way in. Sound off in the chat. We got a poll for you guys. Is the silver crash a sign of the broader collapse? Or is Bitcoin the new safe haven? Your options are Bitcoin is the new gold, silver is just on sale, everything is crashing soon, or I'm just here for the volatility. Let us know what you guys think. Hey, what's going on, guys? We're still in the bunker, but we are back for DCA day, as always. Don't forget to smash the like button. Appreciate you guys for being here. Let's get right into it. Bitcoin currently trading at $70,613.57. Refresh our liquidation heat map and see where we're at. Bam. Weekend. Honestly, this actually looks better, like better liquidity than we had all week. 70,038. 70,38. Wow, that's actually right where, I guess it's 70K, so it's not really that surprising. 68,240. We got a last minute, again, Saved by the Bell, or I guess it's after hours, 7991. Input from the president saying that he's thinking about scaling back operations in Iran. Let's go 71,943 for that one. 71,943. Giovanni said, what's up, everyone? What's going on, Dixie, Reese, Jake, Dorton? Appreciate you guys. Today's DCA day, my friend. Yes, every Friday. Reese said, Zebek partner with Stellar. Check the chart. Hope you loaded up. ZBCN. Oh, very nice. And he broke above 25, which is awesome. A little mild resistance at 28.71, which is weird because it seems like an arbitrary number, but kind of called that. Let's see if it continues up or if we get a pullback here. Maybe it makes some kind of flag. Looks good, though. Does look very good. Now, what we're trying to avoid is a proper rejection off of that and a sell-off, because that's what happened back here, which is why we have this crudely drawn fractal. So far, it looks like we are deviating from that, which is what we want to see. We are overbought on the 4-hour time frame, but that's not the end of the world. There is bearish divergence emerging, which does technically signal further upside for the price and further downside for the RSI. So it's not the end of the world. The volume looks really good. Decent partnership as well. We do like Stellar. Yeah, you were dancing around below 2 for a while. You broke above that. Looks good. Up 35K today. Very nice. Very nice. 26,670 or 26,730 actually. Very cool. Bitcoin, $70,589. Let's see. We got a W going on. We talked about, I think on other assets, the MW. Maybe we could justify that here. I guess with these, normally with the MW pattern, I've often seen the rejection at the midpoint, so I want to see us break above, I'm going to say 72K in order for me to be okay with a proper uptrend out of this. The fractal is, we are getting deviation from the fractal. What's nice about the fractal is it did play out pretty consistently up until a certain point. You know, you got deviation here, like a mild deviation right there. But that's kind of nothing, honestly. If you would have traded off of this fractal, you probably could have made some decent change. But I'm not a financial advisor, so don't trade off of anything I do. You got a bullish cross and support bounce off of the moving average and the RSI. The whole Mercury retrograde thing is in play. We do have it on the chart just for shits and giggles. See if we get a pump off of that, because allegedly that is bullish. Gold is down 3.49%. Apparently I hedge against absolutely nothing. $4,491. This thing is getting decimated. If anywhere had any semblance of support, it would be here, just based on this previous bounce, and that was a pretty hefty bounce. Huge sell-off from 5,600 down to 4,500. That's crazy. What's up, JJ? Where's Peter Schiff? Peter Schiff is so quiet right now, dude. He's crying in his closet. His wife is like, I told you to sell at 55. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm going to divorce you and take half of your rocks. 44.91. His son, I'm pretty sure his son's like a Bitcoin maxi, which is really funny. But yeah, let's see if, I don't know, 42.50. I guess that was a support target of mine, probably from back here, honestly. Or even back here. Let's see if that comes into play. The ideal scenario here would have been to hold above 45. But that's not what's happening right now. So, silver down 6.8. Actually worse off than gold. We got a lower low going on. No wick, no buying pressure. This thing is selling off pretty dang hard. Pretty dang hard. Is there any hope in sight? I don't know, 65. I think Grok said 65 was important for some random reason. But we're at 67.89 right now. We are technically oversold on the 4-hour time frame. Let's see what the dailies look like on this. Daily is not oversold on silver. Daily is almost oversold. Oh, it is. Very slightly. You can barely see it on gold. Look at that. See that? That little boop. It's barely boop. That little peak. It's right below. By like 0.25, it is technically oversold on the daily. So we'll see if gold gets a bounce, and evidently if that ends up happening, maybe it pushes silver back up. Is silver forming kind of the same pattern here? We got top number 1, we got a little W, top number 2, and then you bounce until the explosion. You got top number 1, little W, top number 2, and then explosion. Retrace an explosion. Your W. W, top number 1, top number 1, top number 2. I actually kind of like that. I don't mind that. Let's see if we get a bounce anywhere. Dixie said Dong staying pretty dang stable. Dong actually looks great, dude. I'm kind of kicking myself for not buying more, because it's up a tremendous amount from the recent dip. Like, if you guys are degenerate gamblers, highly recommend checking all the ecosystems. Maybe focus on one specific ecosystem. So Dong in US dollar terms, if you would have bought this thing at the beginning of February, and again, it's just me picking the lowest point, it's up 60% recovery, which is pretty dang good against the US dollar. Against ADA, it's actually a pretty decent hedge against ADA on the longer term time frame. Look at this, man. This is how bad Cardano's been doing. Dong is literally out here outperforming it by 75% for the entire year, 2026. 2026 Dong has outperformed Cardano. Where's January 1st? Look at this. January 1st. Dong is literally up 84% more than the asset that it's traded on. That's kind of funny. I'm I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty funny. So get wrecked, Charles. But yeah, silver. Definitely need to see some kind of support because this thing's just getting sold like crazy. I'm very sad to see no wick. The wick on the daily was promising. The wick on the 4-hour was promising. And then we got both of those were basically invalidated today. And on the 4-hour. What's going on, G Immortal? Yeah, I don't know where Peter Schiff is. That's hilarious. Pax Gold trading 45.15. That is up slightly from the actual like gold chart, tokenized gold. DXY, the dollar allegedly, if you ask every AI model, if you ask every silver person, they're going to tell you till they're blue in the face that the reason that gold and silver are magically dumping, even though it's supposed to be the hedge against everything, you buy gold and silver above everything else. Gold and silver will not dump. But they're dumping. They're dumping pretty dang hard. They're not a hedge against anything. Well, that's because the dollar's increasing in value. Okay. Isn't the whole point of gold and silver that the dollar can't increase in value? Isn't that the whole selling point? Isn't that the whole snake oil spiel? Forgive me for not giving a crap. Anyways, 99.5 on the DXY. It's actually looking pretty good. Ranting aside, the dollar pumping is good for people with money. And I'm one of those people. I have money. I have to work for my money. I am a very dollar dependent individual. Most of my net worth is in the dollar, or even just valued in the dollar. But with recent downside and incoming dry powder from the IRS, the money that I lent them, that I got back justifiably, I'm very dollar dependent, and there's very much a repeating pattern here of just upside. Let me actually, I don't know how relevant fractals are at all, if at all, on the DXY, but this is 1000% a repeating pattern. Watch this. Almost identical. Look at that. Wow. You literally have, you got spike, dip, spike, dip, spike, dip, spike, dip, big spike, big dip, and then a pump. Big spike, big dip, and then a pump. Is it going to go up as much as previously? If it does, I guess it would be approximately, I'm going to go for the low point right here. I'm going to go right here. We're looking at a 101 potential rejection, which we do have a trend line on here for some reason. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So this trend line is incredibly relevant. We've seen bounces off of this trend line. Let me get rid of that. We've seen bounces off of this trend line, and then we've seen rejections off of this trend line. Or I guess a fake out above it. Technically, there's been no proper rejection off of it. I guess unless you really want to count this wick, but I'm not going to. We got 2 points of confluence. So it's not entirely like a big deal, but this is our first line of, I'm going to call it resistance potential with the DXY to see if we can get some semblance of risk asset pumpage, or even just assets in general. This thing rejects 100.85 maybe? We'll have to wait and see what happens. But right now it's struggling to get above and stay above 100, which could be good for investments, like I said. It's bad for our bank accounts, good for our investments. Dow Jones, 45,605. This thing is down pretty much $5,000 since the Dow 50,000. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. So, unfortunately, the president, I think, jinxed himself. Let's do a fractal here, just for fun. Because, you know, we like to do our fractals for fun. Yeah, look at that. So, okay, actually, this is great. Because the trajectory is almost identical. Are we going to get a bounce here come Monday? And then further failure early to mid-April. And then mid-April, we start to get our first bounce, second bounce, and then our continuation up into spring, summer. I think spring is one of the best times to invest. Summer is the worst, or maybe it was, I don't know. Let's ask, I'm going to ask Grok again. What seasons, or I guess what is the performance? What is the performance for all 4 seasons on average for the stock market among all time? Let's see what she says. So yeah, let's see what the Dow Jones does. It would be really funny if it just perfectly followed this. If we do get a bounce, like I said earlier, allegedly Trump is talking about withdrawing or downsizing, I guess, whatever he called it, scaling down our Iran skirmish, whatever he's trying to name it. And then we also have our latest fractal on the S&P 500. I'm going to go out and say RIP S&P, or RIP Ask Fractal 3.0. I don't know if you guys are aware, Chuck Norris has passed. So, rest in peace, Chuck Norris. I believe that was yesterday. Cheers, my friend. Absolute legend. Defined several generations. Walker, Texas Ranger. Dixie said, hee hee hee. Alright, let's see. We got 8 votes so far. I'm actually going to end it there. I like that. I asked about the silver crash. I asked you guys, is the silver crash a sign of a broader collapse, or is Bitcoin the new safe haven? 63% of you guys said Bitcoin is the new gold. 38% said everything is crashing soon. Nobody said silver is just on sale. And nobody said, I'm just here for the volatility. Poll number 2. Let's see what we got here for poll number 2. Everything. Let's see. It seems like no investment is safe right now. What is your move? Buying the dip, selling to stay in cash, holding and watching. I can't type today. And crying in the corner. Start poll. Bam. It seems like no investment is safe right now. What is your move? You got buying the dip, selling to stay in cash, holding and watching, or crying in the corner. Let me know what you guys think. Direct your attention to the poll in the chat. Also, if you haven't already, smash the like button. I appreciate you guys for being here. Yeah, NASDAQ, not looking great. We'll see if the sell-off continues. Average. All right, spring is the best. Summer's the worst. Okay, that's what I thought. Spring is the best. I was not expecting spring to be the best, though. I remember summer being the worst. Or maybe I didn't think that. No, I did, because I thought winter was going to be the best. Weakest season, consistent underperformer. Okay, so springtime, March, April, May, allegedly supposed to be the good time to invest. Strongest season, driven by April and March. Well, not this year. Definitely not this year. But we'll see. Average returns. Yeah, August and September are really bad. March, April actually look decent. February's pretty junky. Interesting. Okay. Maybe we'll look into that a little more in depth later. S&P down 1.51%. Woo! Oh my gosh. 65.06. Are we going to bounce off of 65? Or are we going to reach the true crown of the latest fractal? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I called this Ask Fractal. That is not correct. This is a random fractal on the NASDAQ. We should name it now. I feel bad. But this is the Ask Fractal on the S&P 500. Ask Fractal 3.0, which I think was like 80% fulfilled. And then that last 20% maybe just kind of decoupled and failed. You know, that happens sometimes. That happens. I'd say 2 for 3. And then even 80% of 3. That's, what is 80% of 33%? I don't know. We can do the math later. I'm a smart guy. The bottom line is that I'm very smart. I'm not. I'm so bad. I'm very bad at investing in meme coins and stuff specifically. But when it comes to diversifying and stuff, I'm pretty good. Pretty good. I think the trick is mostly, and it goes back to that J.L. Collins stuff. It's not sexy. Like, and it can be, I'm sure. You can be like a day trader and you can be really good at it. But for the most part, I think personally, I approach that stuff more as hobby, and when it comes to just investing, it's just dollar cost averaging and being consistent, not being emotional. That's a big part of it. Anyways, S&P 6506. Let's see if we end up coming down to the 6250 level or even further. People are calling for some pretty bearish numbers based on the current climate. Nvidia down 3.28% on the day, 174.86. Tesla also down quite a bit actually. 362 might be a point of confluence that it can bounce off of. We'll see what happens. MicroStrategy, aka Big B Coffee, in case you guys are not familiar, the reason I call it Big B Coffee is because the logo looks identical. Michael Saylor is actually married to the woman that started Big B Coffee. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff. All right, let's see. 136.66. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna, because it did decouple from this fractal, so I don't know if it's gonna bounce off of anything or if it's just gonna continue down. There's really no reason to think that it's gonna go up, to be honest, but it's been performing pretty decent compared to everything else. We got a potential bullish cross over the moving average and the RSI coming. We are below 140 though. Let's see if 130 holds if we end up going down that low. Dominance for Bitcoin 58.9. We are below 59 here, getting a potential W. So, see about that. We did get a bounce off the moving average here. I don't know if that really applies to anything. Green dot on the momentum wave point to the upside as well. Let's see what happens. Bitcoin itself, $70,676. Potentially holding and bouncing off of 70K. That would be really cool. ETH holding, bouncing off of 2113. Solana holding and bouncing off of 88. Total 3. Holding and bouncing off of 720. ADA holding, bouncing off of 26. SNEC dumping. Midnight. I'm going to call this dumping. XRP actually holding and bouncing off of the upper trend line. Looking good. HBAR. I guess bouncing off of 90. It's 93. That's arbitrary. Random number. SWE, potential W. Ondo. I'm going to rattle through these ones real quick. Ondo really needs some upside. Arrow. Lower portion of its range. Polkadot still looks great. 151. Let's see if 150 holds. Avalanche. 956. Let's see if 950 holds. Chainlink. Bottom of its range. 915. Let's see if we can get a W out of this. We got a potential MW scenario just like Bitcoin. We'll see what happens. And last but not least, Doge 94.53 below 95. Kind of makes me a little bit sad, but I guess we got the arbitrary number of 92.50. We'll see if that comes into play as well. Bitcoin itself looking good, $70,698. Let's get to the news segment. Oh my God, that was Ted. That's actually from Ted Nugent. That's really funny. I didn't realize that was him. I think he lives in Michigan. This is a decent video. I don't know. I know Ted Nugent has some pretty radical points of view on politics, so I'm not going to go out there and say that I necessarily agree with anything that he says, but this is a decent video. YMR.X posted warning, something extremely unusual is happening. Insiders are buying COMEX gold options at 15 to 20,000 for December 2026. Gold is around 4,700 right now. This means they expect the gold price to triple. And if you think that's just gambling, you're completely wrong. Let me explain this in simple words. This position did not show up before the top. It started building after gold printed above 5,600, then got hit by its biggest one-day dump in decades. That's the part most people miss. Retail sold the panic. This buyer kept adding. Even after gold dropped back toward 4,700, now the structure is around 1,100 contracts, about 1.1 million ounces, about 5.17 billion of gold at today's price, about 16.5 billion of gold at the $15,000 strike. That's not a normal trade. It's a tail risk bet on a full repricing. Now connect the dots. Normal bank targets for 2026 are around 61 to 63. This trade starts buying it in the 15,000 area. That tells you everything. This is not someone positioning for a normal bull case. It's someone positioning for a monetary event, a crisis event or market break big enough to make $15,000 gold look realistic. and that's why the timing matters. This buy didn't start during euphoria, it started during the flush, when gold had already broken hard and most people were busy calling it the top. That one fact explains a lot, because real size usually doesn't chase headlines. It waits for stress, it waits for disbelief, and then it builds. So if you're asking what this means, the answer is simple. Somebody with serious money is still paying for extreme upside in gold. Even after the biggest correction in decades, that's preparation. I've studied macro for 10 years and called every major top. Then he goes into that stupid spiel. I don't know. This is interesting to me. I think that you can sell these early and still profit off of them. It's kind of like taking a long position, so maybe they're just betting on it potentially going up. Or maybe it's all just a psyop and it's supposed to trick dummies like you and me into going, oh my gosh, I got to load up on gold and silver. Watcher Guru posted Bitcoin price on EID 2010. We got 6 cents. I'm just going to rattle through it. You guys know we're going every year. $3, $5, $100, $450, $280, $660, $25.50, $66.50, $7,400, $8,700, $45,400, $38,000, $27,100, $67,500, $83,500, and $70,500. So let's see. Sometimes 21, 22, 23. Yeah, sometimes there's a couple years where it decreases. We went from 83.5 to 70,500. Interesting. I don't know. Fed Governor Christopher Waller says he was ready to cut interest rates until oil prices raised inflation risks. Silver crashes under $70, falling over 5% today. 63% chance President Trump signs crypto market structure legislation into law this year. I don't think it's going to do anything at this point. CFTC Chair Mike Selig says crypto will power the new frontier of finance as markets move on-chain. Very cool. I think he said that like 1,000 times now. Supermicro crashes 27% after its co-founder was charged with smuggling $2.5 billion worth of NVIDIA AI chips to China. Crazy. SEC Chair Paul Atkins says he's eliminating impractical rules to advance, clarify, and transform financial markets. X officially integrates AI content detection feature. That's actually really interesting. Georgia becomes the first U.S. state to suspend fuel taxes as Middle East war sends gas prices soaring. Very nice. That's actually really funny. My boss is in Georgia right now. Just in, gold crashes under $4,500. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says Bitcoin will help preserve U.S. dollar dominance. Very cool. $1 trillion with a T, $1 trillion wiped out from U.S. stock market today. That's a lot of money. Senators reach deal with White House to resolve crypto stablecoin yield dispute with banks. I'm sorry. This is huge. Let's see if it does anything, to be completely honest. 88 said, what are you in for? Smuggling NVIDIA chips. They're going to be like, what? You ever see the movie Get Hard with Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell? He like goes to prison for like fraud or something like that. And before he goes in, he like hires the Kevin Hart. And Kevin Hart's character is just like this normal like suburban guy that like washes cars and stuff like that. But because he's black, Will Ferrell's character thinks that he like knows about prison. It's such a good movie. It's so funny. Kevin Hart's like, you think because I'm black? And the guy's like, I'll pay you whatever you want. So then he like takes advantage of him and like gets the money. Yeah, it's so funny, dude. It's such a funny movie. And then Will Ferrell's character, like Kevin Hart, like goes to the ghetto to like find people that'll like help him. And then Will Ferrell's character like teaches them about investing and stuff like that. It's so good. I might have to watch that tonight. That's a good movie. That'll be the movie recommendation of the day. Get Hard with Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart. We're all gonna get hard tonight as a team. It's gonna be a team building thing. We're gonna get hard together. Teams that get hard together stay together. Cheers. I'm excited for the next for the rant segment. I got two new scenes for you guys to premiere. So I need topics in the chat for me to rant about. This is huge. Senators reach deal with White House to resolve crypto stablecoin yield dispute with banks. Hopefully this goes through. President Trump says the U.S. does not use the Strait of Hormuz and does not need it. Then why is our gas $4 a gallon? Are we going to get a gas dividend or whatever? A hardship stimmy? Stablecoin went 3 minutes ago. This was 3 hours ago. Another 250 million USDC issued on Solana, 1.25 billion rolling week. Very cool. Kobe SE letter. Here's the meat and potatoes. Of the news segment. Wall Street is becoming increasingly concerned about big tech capex. 22% of global fund managers now believe companies are deploying too much capex, the second highest on record. Since 2005, the only higher reading was 33% in February 2026. In prior 20 years of survey, funding managers had never been concerned about firms over-investing. By comparison, 70% of participants believed companies were investing too little in 2017. Not even the 2008 financial crisis saw such elevated capex concerns when 10% of participants saw firms were spending too little. Institutional investors are growing concerned about big tech capex. 88 said market lost ETH's whole market cap today. Yeah, that's crazy. Breaking: an oil tanker operator paid Iran a $2 million fee for safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz on Wednesday. Per Financial Times, Iran is now charging favored countries millions per oil tanker for safe passage through Hormuz. That's crazy. Breaking: the top 20% of earners in the U.S. now hold a record $49.1 trillion in equities and mutual funds, or 87% of the total. By comparison, the middle 40% and bottom 40% own $5.9 trillion and $1.5 trillion, respectively. Since the 2020 pandemic, equity ownership among the top 20% has surged $29.8 trillion, or 154%. By comparison, the bottom 80% have captured just $4.2 trillion over the same period. To put this differently, the top 20% have gained 600% more than the bottom 80% in dollar terms. As we have warned, asset owners are the only winners. Assets increase in value over time, and the dollar decreases in value over time. Except for right now, the dollar's increasing, which is why everyone's tweaking and selling all their gold and silver like a bunch of pansies. And that valuation is decreasing. President Trump: without the USA, NATO is a paper tiger. They didn't want to join the fight to stop a nuclear-powered Iran. Now that fight is militarily won, with very little danger for them. They complain about the high oil prices they are forced to pay, but don't want to help open the Strait of Hormuz, a simple military maneuver that is the single reason for the high oil price. So easy for them to do with so little risk. Cowards. And we will remember President Donald J. Trump. See, okay, I'm gonna go into rant mode. Are you guys ready? Ready? What can I get you? Here's my problem. The very little risk part of that, I don't agree with. Any single death of a citizen is too much risk. So if I have to pay $4 at the pump in order for a U.S. soldier or a UK soldier or an Irish, I don't know what, a French soldier to not die, then I'm going to pay $4. I'm more than happy to pay $4 at the pump. I'm fine paying $4 at the pump. We don't need any soldiers to die. And we know that the second anybody goes into the freaking Strait of Hormuz, Iran is going to catapult or trebuchet a smoke bomb and sink one of these effers, because their technology is equivalent of North Korea's. Actually, North Korea's tech is probably more impressive, but that's besides the point. I think very little risk is inappropriate. That's just me. What's wrong on Blockchain Bruce? Smash the like, guys. Oh, you watched the short, dude? It's a good one. I'm so bad at doing Trump. I did not realize. I literally went into it so confident. I was like, dude, I'm gonna nail this. I'm gonna do Trump's accent, and it's gonna be great. And I start filming it, and I listened back. I was like, God, I'm so bad at doing Trump. I can't do Trump at all. Literally sounds nothing like him. Kobe SE letter posted: breaking: the U.S. Pentagon is sending thousands of additional Marines and 3 warships to the Middle East. Up to 2,500 Marines from the USS Boxer Group are being deployed. That's crazy. The NASDAQ 100 falls over 1% as the U.S. announces up to 2,500 additional Marines are being deployed to the Middle East. Dixie said, your Trump video, I was dead. It was a good one, dude. I'm very proud of that. I've been talking about it for forever. I was like, how funny is that we're sitting here and we do Venezuela and it went amazing. Like, literally, there's never been a more badass military operation. We go to Venezuela. literally do the entire thing. There's 0 casualties. We take their president, and then we have all of their oil and all of their stuff. Like, overnight, by the time anybody knew, they're like, is the president of Venezuela gone? What just happened? Where's the president of Venezuela? All this oil's missing too. And then Trump is like, we have Maduro. He's literally right here. We used Anthropic's artificial intelligence. And then everyone's like, okay, wow, that's crazy. Wow, amazing. And then they're like, can we use it to kill people? And Anthropic is like, no. And then they're like, fine, you're a supply chain risk. Get out. Nobody's allowed to use Anthropic anymore. And everyone's like, okay, cool. And Sam Altman's like, they're going to use OpenAI. And they're like, we're going to use OpenAI. They use OpenAI. And they do this Iran operation. And it's literally the worst military operation on the planet. They blow up a bunch of stuff. And this is not to be joked about. This is fucked up. A literal girls' school was hit with a missile. And now the Strait of Hormuz is closed and gas is $4 a gallon. $5 if you're in California. It's probably $6 now. It's crazy. So now inflation's going through the roof. They're not going to cut rates. Like, all of this bad shit happened because they didn't want to use Claude. Because they were mad that Claude told them no. Or that Anthropic told them no. That's crazy, dude. That's so crazy. Overton said, hello, Beard. How's your trading going? Please research Chopper. You'll like it. Let's go take a look. I've been started trading again a little bit. And it's been doing pretty good, actually. Like, weirdly good. Tony Chopper on Solana. 9 months old. I'm going to assume that it's this one. Right? Ooh, number go up. I mean, this actually looks halfway decent. Am I crazy? It's daily. Let me go down to the 4 hour. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It doesn't seem, I mean, did it rug? Maybe. But, hey. What's the holders look like? Top one's a liquidity pool. That's what you want. This is perfect. That's a person. They bought a shit ton at this exact valuation. Yeah, this looks amazing. This actually is relatively decent. Not a fan of the picture. Picture usually sells me every time too. I'm assuming it's like plagiarized from an anime. Yep, I knew it. I knew exactly what it was. I don't like this guy. He creeps me out. Is that messed up? I'm probably gonna get canceled now. I'm just not a fan of his wardrobe. Yeah, that's okay. Is it official? I find it hard to believe it's official. 111 followers. Microcap. It's fun though. It's cute. You know, do what you gotta do. Okay. You can't make this up. The market now sees a 50% chance of a U.S. Fed rate hike by the end of 2026. Just months ago, markets saw as many as 4 rate cuts this year. As oil prices surge to $100 plus per barrel, inflation expectations are rapidly rising, with gas prices up nearly 50% in 4 months. In fact, the 10-year note yield is now up nearly 40 basis points since the Iran war began, bringing mortgage rates to a fresh 2026 highs. All while, the European Central Bank is now expected to hike interest rates twice this year. Our models show that if current oil prices are sustained for another 2 months, U.S. CPI inflation will rise to 3.3%. In just 3 weeks, the era of higher for longer Fed policy appears to have returned when markets were least expecting it. Those who do not own assets will be left in the dust, own assets or be left behind. Unfortunately, the assets are dumping right now. So what are you talking about, bro? The S&P 500 ETF SPY and the Nasdaq 100 ETF QQQ have seen combined outflows of $64 billion over the last 3 months, the most on record. This marks a sharp reversal from $50 billion in 3-month inflows posted in November. This is also almost double the previous decade high set in 2018, not even the 2020 pandemic. And March-April 2025 sell-off saw such significant outflows. As a percentage of assets under management, the 3-month outflow is up to minus 5%, the biggest since Q1 2023. By comparison, the largest percentage outflow over the last decade was minus 8% in April 2018. Investors have rushed to the sidelines. What? Investors have rushed to the sidelines. I'm assuming is what they meant. What assets? 88 Metal said, what assets? I don't know either, man. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. The asset is the US dollar. What friggin' asset? It's pennies. Because they stopped manufacturing the pennies, so now they're scarce. That's the closest we can get to Bitcoin, is just owning pennies. The 10-year note yield is now up 45 basis points in 3 weeks. If April 2025 taught us anything, it's that President Trump does not want the 10-year yield above 4.5%. We are 10 basis points away. Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Breaking, Russian President Putin has offered to stop providing intel to Iran if the U.S. does the same for Ukraine. Ooh, spicy meatball. That's crazy. Yesterday's trading session was absolutely wild. Long-only funds sold $9.6 billion in U.S. stocks during Thursday's morning sell-off, the largest amount on record. This marks a 5 Sigma event. I hate these. This stupid Sigma event bullcrap doesn't mean anything because we've had like 1,000 of those in the past month alone. It's worthless. Meaning a move of this magnitude is almost never seen under normal market conditions. By comparison, the previous record was minus $8.7 billion on July 31st, 2025. Every sector saw selling pressure, with the heaviest contraction in tech, consumer discretionary, and industrials. Sentiment has become overly bearish. No shit. Has it really? The odds of the U.S. entering a recession in 2026 have surged to 36% per Polymarket. U.S. gas prices are on track to hit $4 a gallon next week. They've been at $4 a gallon. Who's doing this math? It's literally been $3.99 where I live, dude. The IEA has issued a warning stating that the Iran war is the greatest threat to global energy in history. Details include the IEA says it could take 6 months or longer to fully restore oil and gas flows from the Gulf. Roughly 18 million barrels of daily crude oil supply remain offline. Russia's Nord Stream pipelines are not operational, adding further pressure. There is currently no immediate way to replace the supply of oil from the Gulf. Today concludes week 3 of the Iran war. I think we have the end of March is going to be the official 4-week timeline that Trump proposed. So next weekend, who knows? Maybe we'll be entering a bull market. The UK's... I almost have to be intoxicated to say that. Breaking, the UK's 10-year government bond yield has officially risen above 5% for the first time since 2008. Europe is bracing for another wave of inflation amid a worsening energy crisis. Why don't they just print money and send it to everybody? If we're going into an inflationary period already, where it's going to enter recessionary, just print a shit ton of money, send everybody 10 grand, and be like, listen, this has to get you through the next 10 months. You know, as a supplementation of what you have. If you lose your job, then you at least have a 10 grand, like, airbag. If you keep your job, you got 10 grand to supplement because you're probably not going to be working as much because the gas is really bad and all this crazy inflation and recession and all these big scary words are happening. So since it's happening already, we're just going to print the money and send it to you. Because why the hell not? I would be the worst politician. I would say so many things that I shouldn't say. Canada's value going up. Very cool. Congratulations, Canada. Iranian officials have become reluctant to even discuss reopening the Strait of Hormuz as they focus on surviving U.S.-Israeli attacks, per Bloomberg. I'm going to say mean things. I'm going to shut my mouth. The sudden turn of events, U.S. 12-month inflation expectations have surged to 5.2%, the highest level since March 2023. In just 3 weeks, markets have gone from pricing and rate cuts to rate hikes. Damn. Blockchain Bruce, a maple syrup reserve. That's actually a pretty cool idea. We should look into that. Has anyone here ever made maple syrup? Maple syrup is actually really fun to make. I definitely almost died. I almost had a tree fall on me because I'm deaf and I was walking through the woods like an idiot while they were cutting down trees. It was fun though. Sometimes you almost die from a tree falling on you. Shit happens. This is America. That's definitely a Canadian problem. A maple tree falling on you. The Russell that had nothing. Us cutting down trees had nothing to do. I guess maybe it wasn't a maple tree because we were cutting down trees for the wood, for the I don't remember. We had to heat up the sap to start making syrup. The Russell 2000 index officially enters a technical correction, now down 10% from its record high. Wow. Breaking, the Trump administration has made detailed preparations for deploying U.S. ground forces into Iran. So keep this in mind as we go further. Details include senior military commanders have sent Trump specific requests aimed at preparing for a ground invasion. Trump has been deliberating whether to position ground forces in the region. The U.S. has held meetings to prepare for how to handle the possible detention of Iranian soldiers and paramilitary operatives in a ground invasion. The U.S. is preparing to deploy elements of the 82nd Airborne Division into the Middle East region. It's going to be another busy weekend ahead. Now, what part of this sounds like we're winding down? Zero? I agree. Breaking, gold prices fall below $4,500 an ounce for the first time since February 2nd. Gold is now down $1,100 an ounce from its record seen in January. Inflation update from Adam Kobiesi himself. Oil prices have now traded near $100 a barrel for 2 weeks. If oil prices maintain current levels for 2 more months, our models at Kobiesi letters suggest U.S. CPI inflation will rise to 3.3%. We are nearing the inflection point in the global energy crisis. The manufactured global energy crisis, by the way. Gold prices are now on track for their largest weekly decline since 1983, down 11.2%. Denmark was ready to blow up airfields to stop a U.S. invasion of Greenland, per the New York Times. That's crazy. Current situation. U.S. inflation expectations have surged to 5.2%, 3-year high. The Russell 2000 is officially in a technical correction. U.S. gas prices have risen nearly 45% in 4 months. Interest rate futures are now pricing in potential rate hikes. Gold prices are down $1,000 an ounce from their record high. Mortgage rates have risen 50 basis points to the new 2026 highs. We are witnessing colossal economic change on a daily basis. What a great planet we live on. Breaking, the S&P 500 officially posts its lowest close of 2026, erasing $3.2 trillion in market cap since the Iran war began. The situation in the bond market is equally, if not more, concerning than what is happening with oil prices, but it's barely getting any attention yet. That's pretty terrifying. If you guys haven't already, check out the poll in the chat. Let's see what we got for the current poll. 7 votes. I'm going to end it. Yeah, because there's no tie. All right. I asked, it seems like no investment is safe right now. What's your move? 57% of you guys said buying the dip. 43% said holding and watching. Nobody said selling and staying in cash. Nobody said crying in the corner. We got 7 votes. 88 said, what's crypto's market cap? Total crypto market cap at the moment is 2.4 trillion. Look at that. We're looking for potential pull all the way down to this lower trend line. I could still see that happening. I don't even remember where that trend line came from. Let me see. Yep. Interesting. Very, very interesting. That is bear market stuff right there, guys. That is bear market stuff. It's getting spooky out here. You got breakdown 1, 2, 3. We got breakdown 1, 2. I'm going to call it 3. Dang, I actually don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. It's happening very, very fast as well. S&P lost 3.5 trillion. Crazy? Yeah, that's crazy. I wanted to, the next poll, I'm going to ask you guys, when do you think, if at all, we're not going to put that in the question though, when do you think the Iran conflict is going to end or wind down? When do you think the Iran conflict is going to end / wind down? We've got this month. I'm gonna say Q1 2026. Still sometime soon. Q2 2026. Sometime in the second half of 2026 or 2027 or later. I don't even know anymore. Boom. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, direct your attention to the poll in the chat. When do you think the Iran conflict is going to end / wind down? Q1, Q2, sometime in the second half of 2026 or 2027 or later. I don't even know. We're doomed. 88 said, that's how moot crypto really is? Yeah. Yeah, crypto's small. It's very small. That's why I think it's crazy. So many people think that like it's such a big space because it's kind of hard to equate what market cap is. Here, let's do the bar again. Market cap, like Bitcoin's market cap. Let's go to Bitcoin's market cap really quick. Let's just check it. Bitcoin's current market cap, that's the wrong thing. Whoops. Is 1.4 trillion. 1.4 trillion. That does not mean that there is $1.4 trillion put into Bitcoin. There's probably actually more. If you really do the math, like put in and then take it out later, there's probably more. Like if you add it all up over time. But there's not $1.4 trillion worth of Bitcoin sitting in there. Or it is worth of Bitcoin, but it's not. Nobody paid $1.4 trillion for all of that Bitcoin. We're going back to the bar. People paid X amount of dollars, and that X amount increased over time and eventually reached $70,608. And that's $70,608. If you sell, like if you had all of the Bitcoin, let's say that there's 20 million, and you had all of them, and then there's 20 million people in line ready to pay $70,616. When you pay all that out, that would be that $1.4 trillion. But that's not the real case. So if you look at it like building blocks, somebody paid $3,000 for Bitcoin, somebody paid $4,000, $5,000, whatever. It's like laddered up, but there isn't $1.4 trillion it's sitting there. There's just Bitcoin sitting there with X amount of liquidity and whatever. It's weird to explain, but it's not $1.4 trillion. It's $1.4 trillion worth of Bitcoin at the current valuation. HQZ said expect the worst and hope for the best. Yeah. Giovanni said hopefully soon. For real. I will say, and I feel like I've been saying this, and so it's kind of annoying. I'm annoying myself at this point. But Bitcoin has held up. You know, it's holding 70K. So that's pretty decent. That is pretty decent. The situation in the bond market. Okay, we just read that. Breaking. President Trump says the U.S. is close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts in the Middle East. The announcement comes 13 minutes after futures markets have closed for the weekend. Let's read the whole damn thing. We are getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts in the Middle East with respect to the terrorist regime of Iran. 1. Completely degrading Iranian missile capability. That's because they hit us and our, like, everyone in the Gulf with those missiles. Launchers and everything else pertaining to them. 2. Destroying Iran's defense industrial base. 3. Eliminating their Navy and Air Force, including anti-aircraft weaponry. 4. Never allowing Iran to get even close to nuclear capability, and always being in a position where the USA can quickly and powerfully react to such a situation should it take place. 5. Protecting at the highest level our Middle Eastern allies, including Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, and others. The Hormuz Strait will have to be guarded and policed as necessary by other nations who use it. The United States does not. If asked, we will help these countries in their Hormuz efforts, but it shouldn't be necessary once Iran's threat is eradicated. Importantly, it will be an easy military operation for them. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Interesting. That's what he thinks. 88 said, as he sends more Marines. Yeah, for real. HQZ said, I'll take something off the top shelf to your left. All right. To my left. You think this is my left, don't you? Look at my shirt. Everything you guys know is a lie. What's going on, Jay Shear? All right. Breaking. President Trump says the U.S. is considering winding down its military efforts against Iran. President Trump today, 3:43 p.m. I don't want to do a ceasefire with Iran. 5:13 p.m. The U.S. is considering winding down the war with Iran. What changed over those 90 minutes? Probably literally everything going to zero. That's probably a big factor, I would say. I'm talking about even when I'm in the bar. You still think this is my left hand? Look at my shirt. I've been mirrored. I don't know how people do it any other way, to be honest. The coffee-shaped hole in my head. It's kind of fun. All right, let's continue. The World Gold Council launches a gold as a service framework to standardize and scale tokenized gold across digital financial systems. Very cool. Elon Musk says X will ship a major AI algorithm update next week and open source it. Hopefully it's better than whatever garbage they've been playing with for the past month. It's been so bad. After 6 months of trading stolen funds, the UX Link exploiter hasn't made any profit and sits at break even per Arkham. Whatever this is, this sentence cracks me up. Like, imagine going through effort to steal, not only to steal from people, but you make this whole program to wash your funds and cash out or whatever, and somehow you don't make any money. That's really funny. That cracks me up. That's a good one. That is a good one. We got 3 votes so far. 12 people watching, guys. Go check the poll in the chat. I asked you guys, when do you think the Iran conflict is going to end / wind down? So far, 67% of you guys said Q2 2026. 33% of you guys said 2027 or later. I don't even know anymore. Doom? That's pretty spooky. Pretty spooky stuff. Commodities have overtaken crypto on Hyperliquid with oil, gold, and silver leading volumes. Crazy. The flavor of the week is strong with this one. 300 million jobs at risk from AI, but infrastructure growth could drive new employment per Goldman Sachs. Very cool. Gemini faces a class action lawsuit in New York over alleged misleading disclosures tied to its 2025 IPO. What? What do you mean Gemini is really shady and the Winklevoss twins are not good people? What? What? Who said? That's a crazy thing to say. Gosh, why do they look like? What's going on, man? They're frightening individuals. First-person shooter Shrapnel hits Steam. Tokenized TCGs, trading card games, could hit a brick wall, and Animoca teams up with Avalanche. Web3 gamer via Cointelegraph magazine. What? Is that a quote? That was a very confusing sentence. Speaking of games, family and I sat down. We're going back to the cozy bar. The family and I sat down today. Is this the right setting? The family and I sat down today, and we discussed video game ideas, and we workshopped a whole concept that I think I'm gonna try to make. So on the channel, if you guys haven't subscribed already, go subscribe. On the channel, I think I'm gonna document the process of developing a video game, and I'm not gonna give away the concept yet because the daughter's gonna do concept art, and we're gonna put together a whole branch system of events and stuff like that to kind of showcase this concept. But I think we're going to try our hand at video game development. It's going to be a fun time. I'm actually really excited. I was thinking about it all day. The idea for the game sounds like so much fun. All right, let's continue. Bitcoin, $70,572. Gold, $45.24. Everything else, very wishy-washy. There's a lot of back and forth. Okay. Bullish. I thought that said bullshit. BlackRock's ETH-B reaches 254 million in assets under management within a week, including 146 million in fresh investor inflows. I will say, normally I would sit here and be like, what's the point of so many different ETFs? But it kind of makes sense. People have their preference. I'm a big brand loyalist, so I wouldn't switch banks to open an investing account. If my bank didn't offer it, I just wouldn't have it. But if they did, suddenly, if they were like, oh, we're doing a Bitcoin fund or whatever, just for the sake of diversity, I would happily walk into my bank and open up a Bitcoin investment account. So it makes sense, BlackRock loyalists are going to go through BlackRock. So it's kind of cool. The White House introduces a national policy framework to guide AI regulation. This is huge. I don't know if they're going to stifle it, honestly, but I do feel like, I don't remember who it was. I was watching the Iced Coffee Hour with Andrew Yang, and he had talked about somebody, I don't remember if it was a guy with Anthropic or somebody else, but somebody very prominent, like AI company guy, said that they should be taxed more because of the amount of workers that are going to be displaced because of what they're doing, what they're building. And Andrew Yang was like, I've never seen somebody ask for to be taxed before. And that, I thought that was very interesting to me because, you know, all of those Silicon Valley guys are very practical, like weirdly practical. So they don't care if they have to pay more taxes. If it makes sense, they're just going to say that they should pay more taxes. Update: Strive Asset Management boosts Bitcoin holdings to 13,628 Bitcoin alongside 50.4 million in STRC. I believe STRC is the high yield bearing offering from strategy, where I think you get like 11% returns or something like that. 88 said, well, you would hold the ETF in your account at the bank. No. So you would be loyal to your bank. I don't know. I actually have no idea how that works, to be completely honest. No idea. S&P 500 closes below its 200-day moving average for the first time since May 2025 per bar chart. Update: Hyperliquid tops 24-hour fee revenue, generating over $2 million in fees. That's crazy. I genuinely am flabbergasted whenever I see Tron on any of these charts. Who uses Tron? I've never in my life been in crypto for 7 years. Oh my God, has it been that long? Never in my life have I met somebody, and I'm in X Spaces all day, I'm on X all day, I'm in Discord all day. I'm not saying I'm like the most, I don't know everybody by any means, but you would think after 7 years you'd run into like 2 or 3, especially if it's number 2 in fees, you probably run into like 30 or 40 people that are like, oh man, I use Tron all day, I use Tron for everything, Tron's great. Nobody uses Tron. So what is this? Doesn't make any sense to me, man. Am I in a bubble? Maybe. That's entirely possible, but it's pretty weird. The bubble only filters out Tron. It's weird. 88 said, I don't know how it works, LOL. I mean, to be fair, I don't. A16Z co-founder says OpenClaw and Pi coding agent rank among the top software breakthroughs to date. That's crazy. S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100 ETF saw record outflows at $64 billion over the past 3 months per the Kobayashi letter. UBS raises oil forecast, now expects $86 per barrel in 2026 and $80 in 2027. I'm assuming this is an average, because when I read this, I actually got angry, because I'm pretty sure oil is higher than that already. So I was like, what are they looking at? I don't know, man. Alert: gold drops to below 4,500. X launched a new automated AI content detection feature. This is really cool. I'm actually excited for this because I'm so sick of the AI stuff on X already. Brian Armstrong says Bitcoin acts as a check on inflation, with capital flowing into Bitcoin during excessive spending while reinforcing dollar dominance through competition. It's also valued in US dollar. Grayscale files with the SEC to launch a new Grayscale Hype ETF. Huge. Is Hype still, I think Hype is still beating ADA top 10. Let's go see. Yep. Actually, let's make this refresh every time. Refresh. Okay. And, oh! Wow, I don't know what that was. Hyperliquid is still number 10. Let's see. Then we got Dogecoin, Tron, Solana, USDC, BNB, XRP, Tether, ETH, and Bitcoin. Interesting. All right. Coin market cap, Fear and Greed, is at 32. Yesterday it was at 32 as well, so we're the same afraid as we were yesterday. Regular Fear. The CoinGlass Fear and Greed is at 11, which is Extreme Fear. I believe we were Extreme Fear, or maybe just Regular Fear yesterday. And then the stock market Fear and Greed is at 15. If you guys are degenerate gamblers and you want to sign up for Kalshi, use my link in the description. Deposit and trade $25 or more, and we'll both receive $25 in non-withdrawable site credit. It's a ton of fun, but it is gambling, so treat it as such. And if you haven't already, go subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach 2,000 subscribers. Get our concurrent viewership up. Pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Let's see. We got 3 votes in the poll in the chat. Can we get more votes in the poll in the chat? When do you think the Iran conflict is going to end? Bitcoin, $70,532, $524.82. Let's continue. Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince warns AI bots could surpass human internet traffic by 2027 as generative AI drives exponential growth in automated web activity. Crazy. Mark Chadwick, the man himself, posted a tentative deal has been reached on the Clarity Act. I don't think people understand how huge this actually is. We've already seen the SEC and CFTC set the framework for crypto treatment as a commodity and tokenizing the equities. The financial system is being rebuilt to move on-chain. The 99% of the world would have no idea they're going to miss a once-in-a-generation chance. What did I just read? 99% of the world have no idea they're going to miss a once-in-a-generation chance to get in on the technology deals that will run global finance. We're still early. That was such a massive a sentence. Jeez. Senators, White House strike agreement in principle to resolve bank crypto clash. This is the most runaround sentence, though, because you know that if it doesn't get approved or signed or anything in the next month, they can be like, well, all we said was that we reached a concept of a deal, of a plan to agree on the idea. Everyone's going to be like, what? They're going to be like, if you were a politician, you would understand, but you're not a politician, so, I can't explain it to you. It's a career politician thing. MSB Intel posted, every major oil shock in history triggered a recession. Every single one. This is the largest ever recorded by 4x. They're going to have to print so much money. We also haven't seen one since frickin' 1990. So, 17.5% of global supply offline. See, but for how long did the Iran Revolution or the Arab embargo or Gulf War last? Because if the Iran war is 4 times as much like lost oil, as long as it's not like as long as it's less than 4 times smaller, like if the one thing lasted 4 months, as long as the Iran thing that we're currently in only lasts 1 month, it's going to be about the same recessionary risk, right? CryptoSpaces said, good night, chat. I am feeling good even though the market is butt cheeks. God is good. Cheers, CryptoSpaces. It's Friday, my friend. Fridays are good days. No matter what's going on, man. Sometimes you gotta... Let's go do a little fireside. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I hear this war would cost us $40 trillion. That's a lot of money. They could just print it. Sometimes we get a little zoomed in. And by zoomed in, I mean like we're hyper focused on what's going on in the Middle East and everything else going on around the world, inflation, money, all of these things. And we focus a little too much on it. And we forget about, enjoying our day. Making sure that you're sipping nice warm coffee in the morning, or that you sit down for an hour before you go to bed and enjoy your favorite show with a bowl of cereal or whatever. Little guilty pleasures. Maybe go outside. It's a little bit nice out up in Michigan. Past couple of days, go outside, go for a walk, watch the birds, breathe in the air, touch the grass. You see some deer out in the field or something, You just walk around and enjoy it, man. Listen to the frogs croaking. There was frogs in the wetlands the other day. It's pretty cool. Just relax. You can enjoy your time. Regardless of what's going on in the world today, you can still choose to enjoy yourself. Sometimes it's not always a choice. Sometimes you can't. But sometimes you can. And right now, we can. So, take a minute. Breathe. Do something that you want to do for the sake of enjoyment, You deserve it. Also, smash the like button. All right, let's continue. How'd you guys like Fireside Chat? Merlin the Trader. This is one of our OG, this is one of the guys that chills and then he's like, I post every single trade. Make sure you follow me. You'll regret not following me sooner. Crypto Space said, regardless of what's going on in the world, we can be sure crypto go down. Yeah. I mean, everything go down. Gold and silver go down worse than crypto right now, so. Merlin the Trader posted the Bitcoin buy signal that has worked since 2014. Buy when price returns to the 100 EMA. Reduce when it loses the, what is that, weighted moving average 14? That's so arbitrary. Same signal, same result every time. Above 70K, confirmed, rally begins. Excuse me, below 65K, final dip before the move. The simplest signals are always the most powerful. This one just fired. Heck yeah. Let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. Alex Mason, another you'll regret not following me sooner, right here. If you miss those calls, don't worry, I'll call the next one too. Turn notifications on. If you're not following me yet, you'll understand why that was a mistake later. But we're going to read it anyways, because we like to see multiple opinions, either permabull, permabear, or anyone in between. Read this carefully. Bitcoin's next cycle bottom won't be where you think. The part most people ignore? Timing. Days from market cycle top to bottom. 2012, 405 days. 2016, 362 days. 2020, 376 days. We haven't reached that timing zone yet in this cycle. Purely on historical timing, the highest probability window for the real bottom is July through November 2026. That matters more than any single number on your chart. Most traders only operate on price. I'll buy at X. But the zone that feels safe is usually the zone where people do nothing. I don't play that game. Below 50,000, I'm a buyer, regardless of when it happens. That's a price, bro. July through November 2026, I'm a buyer, regardless of price. If either condition is met, I buy, no hesitation. Yes, I started accumulating as soon as we entered the 60K range last month, even though the timing window isn't there yet, or isn't here yet. That's a price. What is he talking about, dude? There's so many contradictions already. Okay. Back in October, when Bitcoin was around 120,000, I said I'd be a strong buyer near 60K. People laughed. Sentiment was euphoric. Bitcoin will never see 100K again. Now we're here. Sentiment was definitely not euphoric, by the way. Now we're here. There's one more thing most people keep ignoring. Newpol. Every generational bottom, 2018, the pandemic, 2022, happened when Newpol entered the blue zone. We're not there yet. For the record, I was the only one publicly calling the exact bottom at 16,000 3 years ago, and the top at 126 in November. Do people actually follow these people? This cracks me up. I love it, though. I love it. Never change, Mr. Alex Mason. You're a freaking legend. Moritz posted, most crypto portfolios will never recover. The game has changed, and you have to adapt if you want to save your portfolio. Actual usage is going up, while most altcoins are bleeding towards zero. Hyperliquid is absolutely crushing it with real-world assets and traditional finance products. Stablecoins and payments keep hitting new all-time highs across all metrics, with a $320 billion market cap and $400 billion in real-world transaction volume in 2025. Yet most altcoins are still down only, and that's actually bullish. The market is maturing. The investors are no longer interested in vaporware with no real revenue or value accrual to the token. This is a shift that was long overdue. If you're still holding tokens that are down 90% and hoping they'll come back someday, now is probably a good time to rethink your strategy. Damn, Moritz dropping the knowledge. We got Crypto Fergani, another GigaChad legend. If you're not following me, right here. If you still haven't followed me, you'll regret it. Literally, you can always rely on that. Every single post. Everyone is bearish. Everyone is calling for lower targets. But I am telling you, the bottom is in. Capitulation is over. Weak hands are gone. Bitcoin is about to go parabolic. Altcoins will do 50 to 100x on average. This is your last warning. If you still think this is a bear market, you deserve to miss what's coming. I've been here for 10 plus years, and I'll keep you updated on everything like I always do. If you still haven't followed me, you'll regret it. Crypto Fergani. Bar chart posted U.S. debt projected to hit 150 trillion within 30 years, says the CBO. I like that they're just like, this is what I do on the charts, man. They're like, U.S. debt? What do you think about U.S. debt? What do I think about U.S. debt? That's what I think about U.S. debt. Super cool album said, what are we thinking, JJ? We're thinking that it's Friday. And it's a great day to DCA. That's what I'm thinking. Mercury's coming out of retrograde. You guys all know how big of a proponent astrology is in my life and my trading strategy. I'm a big Elliott Waves guy as well. I'm just kidding. I have nothing to do with any though. But I will say, I'll take all the copium I can get, and Mercury coming out of retrograde is allegedly bullish. So Mercury's coming out of retrograde, and I'm bullish because of it. Because otherwise, crypto's boring. Being, along for the ride with the masses is boring. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue to be a contrarian, and I'm going to trade Mercury retrograde exit. Bitch. Let's continue the news segment. Supermicro computer plunging more than 10% after its co-founder was arrested for reportedly smuggling $2.5 billion worth of GPUs to China. That is so freaking funny to me. I knew that this was going to happen. I was like, because they're like, we can't sell to China. And I'm like, what? Like, how? That's not going to stop literally anything. Someone's going to buy an ass load and they're just going to send it to China. Or, like, ship it to China themselves, It's not that hard if you're, like, an importer of that stuff to charter a boat. I don't know. I thought that was so silly. You pay off a couple of the right people. Maybe it's not as simple as I thought about. Maybe I'm thinking of, like, The Sopranos, But I don't know. I don't work at the docks, so. Options traders are the most bearish on stocks this year after the equity put-call ratio jumped to 0.9 on Wednesday. This is the fourth highest level in the last 12 months. That's a high level. U.S. M2 money supply hits new all-time high of 22.45 trillion. Why would this ever go down? Why would we ever, honestly, think back, 2008 right here. 2008, you print your way out of the recession. They definitely did that, by the way. That's what that is. You print your way out of a recession. You go way up. Oh my gosh, the pandemic, they printed even more. And then what did they do? They burned some? How do they get rid of that? And now we're at 22,442, whatever that is. Why would they ever decrease this? You know what I mean? What would the benefit be of decreasing this? There's none. They're just going to keep printing and inflating, and no one's ever going to give a shit. Because, when I'm 70, 80 years old, I'm like, man, bread's $10 a loaf now. And your kids are getting paid like $60 an hour, minimum wage. It's the same thing. They shift up. We have to eventually, outpace the greedy bastards that are price gouging. It's a weird world we live in, man. It's a silly system. I think it's going to be hilarious if AI shows up and it's like, you don't need money anymore. And all the rich people are like, what? I've worked so hard for what I have. And they're all going to be miserable. I don't want anybody to be miserable, but you devote your entire life to strictly money. When you don't need money anymore, what do you have? I feel like that's a good question. Private credit is in deep trouble. JP Morgan, Goldman offer hedge funds way to short private credit. That's freaking crazy. That's crazy. S&P 500, SPY on track for its fourth consecutive red week. Its longest streak in more than 1 year. That's crazy. Silver on track for its eighth straight red day. Its longest losing streak since December 2023. Dang. Tesla falls to lowest price since September. Dang. There is now a 0% chance of rate cuts this year, according to bond traders. They're probably correct. Stock market plunges to most amount of fear since November 16. I think it's gone lower since then. Yeah, 13. Now 13. It's falling apart, folks. What if this thing hits zero? Gold ETF has seen an outflow of $5.5 billion this month, on track for its largest monthly outflow since April 2013. We got some confessions. I'm going to ask Rock a question too when we're done. I can always look back on crypto and say, F yeah, that was worth it. Here we go. I was working at a small retail store before crypto. Didn't have $500 to my name. Fast forward to now, I've been able to pay off my parents' mortgage in full. It's a feeling I can't even begin to explain. Even if something happens now, and I somehow lost all of my investments to a hack, etc., I can always look back at crypto and say, F yeah, that was worth it. This is the dream, man. And you can't accomplish the dream without a little bit of discipline. This guy's a legend. Oh, we got some new stuff loaded in. Hang on. Confession number 2. Invested $200,000 in Ash by Pack. Took me a long time to come to terms with this. My thought was, they love creating, so they will never leave. I believe in the ideas, the vision, or I believed in the ideas, the vision, but nothing ever came of it. I tried desperately to sell the bag on my way home from the airport. The transaction never went through. Today, the bag is worth almost nothing, and nobody seems to care about any of this. That sucks. That's why you don't put all your eggs in one basket. People can recover, though. I've reached a point in life where I feel like I have no other option than to opt out of crypto. Sometimes that's what you gotta do. Kobe SE Letter, the S&P 500 ETF SPY posts a massive reversal in after-hours trade, now up over 1% as President Trump says he's considering winding down the Iran war. What just happened? This is our... No, it's not actually. At 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time today, CBS News reported that President Trump was considering boots on the ground in Iran. Then at 3:43 p.m. Eastern Time, President Trump said, I don't want to do a ceasefire with Iran, with the S&P 500 hitting a new 2026 low. Exactly 90 minutes later, at 5:13 p.m. Eastern Time, President Trump said the U.S. is considering winding down the war with Iran. Between the 3:43 p.m. Eastern Time and 5:13 p.m. Eastern Time comments, the S&P 500 had already risen nearly 1% on no news. By 6:15 p.m. Eastern Time, the S&P 500 rallied 1.8% from its low, adding $900 billion in market cap. Markets are now closed until Monday. Watcher Guru posted U.S. issues license allowing sale of some Iranian oil. Yesterday versus today, Jim Cramer said very oversold. The next day, $1 trillion wiped out from the U.S. stock market today. The man does not fail. Bitcoin, $70,465.06. Let's see. We'll go expert. It seems like we're heading into a recession with the oil issues and all of the other signs in private credit and everywhere else. That seems inevitable. What are your thoughts? I don't know. I don't know if they made it so Grok literally can't say negative things, but I can almost guarantee that it's going to be like, oh, the odds of a recession are very low. Considering these things, the odds of a recession are almost zero. It's impossible for there to ever be a recession ever again. I don't know why Grok is like incapable of being like remotely negative. Check the current poll. We got 5 votes. We are tied right now. Can we get a 6th vote on the poll? Break our tie. I ask you guys, when do you think the Iran conflict is going to end or wind down? We got 20% say Q1 sometime soon. 40% say Q2 2026. And 40% say 2027 or later. I don't even know anymore. Doom. Let's see if we can get a 6th vote there. Grok has said, no, a recession isn't inevitable. What did I say? Though the risks have clearly ticked higher in recent weeks, and your concerns about oil and private credit are spot on as key flashpoints. Okay, I'm not going to read his update. The numbers are usually wrong anyways. Oil shock is real. The biggest near-term risk, the oil issue you're flagging, stem primarily from the ongoing U.S.-Israeli-Iran conflict, which has effectively disrupted the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point for around 20% of global oil flows. Brent crude has spiked dramatically to around 112.5 barrels, BBL, as of March 20th, up over 55% in the past month and year, driving up energy costs, tanker rates to records, and inflation expectations. Historically, sharp energy price spikes have preceded nearly every post-war U.S. recession because they squeeze consumers and businesses without quick supply offsets. Moody's Analytics now puts the odds of a recession in the next 12 months at 49%, potentially over 50%, factoring in the war's full oil impact. Citing this alongside a softening labor market, the Fed explicitly noted the oil shock in its latest outlook, trimming expected rate cuts to just one in 2026 and keeping policy restrictive. That said, this looks more like a temporary supply shock than a structural demand collapse. Strategic petroleum reserves releases are underway, plans for historic scale. Global surpluses persist outside the immediate geopolitics, and longer-term forecasts, EIA, JP Morgan, still eye Brent averaging 53 to 60 later in 2026-2027 if tensions ease or shipping normalizes. If the conflict de-escalates quickly, prices could retrace sharply, reducing the stagflation risk. Prolonged disruption would be the real game changer, hitting demand, destruction, and growth. Private credit stress, I'm not going to read that whole thing, contained so far, blah, blah, blah. Broader picture and other signs. Labor market. February jobs report was weak, with strikes, weather as partial culprits and downwards revisions, but it's softening, not collapsing. Claims low, no mass layoffs. Other indicators, inflation steady. Precursors, unemployment dominating. Recession odds overall, prediction markets 29 to 31%. New York Fed DSGE model 36%. Yield curve models lower 17%, up from late 2025 due to recent shocks, but far from inevitable. The economy navigated 2025 volatility without tipping over, and tailwinds like AI capex and policy support provide a buffer. Downside risk are real and have elevated probabilities sharply, but the base case from the Fed, CBO, and most forecasters remains no recession, just a slower growth environment, possible mild dip if oil lingers. In short, valid red flags. So here's my big concern. Whenever there's a recession, nobody is like, there's going to be a recession. They're all like, oh, the odds are very low. There's not going to be a recession. We're pretty fine. Numbers look good. The numbers always look good, and they're never going to be bad. And then everything collapses. They're like, we don't know what happened. We didn't see this coming at all. So the fact that we're at 49% probably means we're at like 70%, if I'm being completely honest. But I don't want to fearmonger either. So obviously things are holding up a lot better than expected, at least in the crypto world. Stocks kind of look like crap. Gold and silver look awful. Gold and silver are literally like, I have meme coins that are performing better than gold and silver. And that's crazy. But Bitcoin's holding up. Dollar's doing really good. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens, that's for sure. If you guys haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe, maybe share the stream with somebody that you think might like it. We're trying to increase our subscriber count. Like I said, going to be documenting some more stuff. We got REM Pod is on its way, so the ghost hunt is going to be scheduled very soon. I'm very excited for that one. Yeah, I don't know. Expect more content, varying in genre. It's gonna be all over the place, but it's gonna be fun. If you want to watch it, you can. If you don't want to watch it, then don't. It's entirely your choice. But subscribe. That is not your choice. You have to subscribe. As always, guys, well, let's end our poll, I guess. We're tied right now between Q2 and 2027 or later, so we'll see what happens. But as always, guys, when the market starts to do anything crazy or anything at all, I will hop back on. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. Happy Friday and good night.